Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. And wherever you are in this wide, wonderful, beautiful world that we live in, you are very welcome to the soft system side of sales. And today we're talking about all of the different sales teams, all the different roles within sales teams, should I say, and what do they mean? There's lots of different names for the same thing, lots of different names for the same word. Meaning, if you're business development, you could be outbound sales, or you could be something else. But pretty much, fundamentally, it does the same function. So there's lots of different facets around that, and how that's organized in larger corporations and in the smaller SMEs, and how that works and how that's organized. So I'm actually on my phone today, and it's actually pretty good. And I've got my ear pods in, so if you see my face shaking, it's me holding the phone. So that's the only thing there. So Shay, we always do this every week, and we always come up with different subjects and different things to talk about, because we want to have a collective experience with all of our people that join us, and we want to get a rounded view of what sales actually is. And today, it's again, as always, it's the different roles within sales teams. So what's your experience within this?
Well, it's actually a very good question, Jason, because like I always say, I believe sales is the hardest part of business, right? It's the lifeblood of business, and it's usually the most ad hoc element of business in terms of running and operating models. So what I like to do, Jason, is to really get down into the weeds, start looking at all the different activities of what happens. And when you actually start boiling it down, people are always surprised of all the different types of activities that you need in a sales team. They just think it's, yeah, make a phone call, meet a contact, meet a prospect, fill in a CRM system, and get a job and get a role. And it's not that at all, Jason, because you need to build an operating model for sales. You need to ensure that you have the right skill sets, you've got the right people doing the right activities for their skill sets to get the right results. And that there's not a one size fits all. Yes, there's common themes, but it's never a one size fits all, Jason, because what works for your team and the people within your team, your marketplace, will not be the same in a different sector or a different
Yeah.
business. So it's very important to really get specific. Yes, as I said, there's common themes, but you really need to know how can you get the best out of that team, right? In terms of sales performance. And there's like the usual, there's the sales activities, there's the data analytics, there's the strategic.
Easy for you. It's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I won't be able to say that word again, Jason, because it's just too hard to roll off my tongue twice, right? But like, my point to say that is, we really have to think specific and tailor a model to suit that business, their customers, and that environment.
Yeah, I think it goes down now. Everyone has their own sets of skills. Everyone, gone are the days where you're an all-rounder. Sometimes you have to be, but if you've got a process there, you find and recruit the people that will match the style of job that they're going for. Meaning, especially in sales, like you might be very, very good at outbound calling. You might be really good at cold calling. You might be good at that type of thing, but you're not very good at other areas of the process. So, like, if you've got quality people that excel in certain areas, why not just give them that role for them to do? Over time, they might excel in other areas. But it's you have different areas of marketing, different areas that in marketing. So you might have people that are very good at social media. You might have people that are very good at this, and you might have very good at other areas. But it's the same with sales, especially also customer success. That's another role. Like being an entrepreneur like ourselves, like we've had to dive in at all of the areas, some of the areas that we might not be as strong in as we should be. And I know we have to roll our sleeves up and just get on with it and do it. But once you start to get larger in your organization and in an SME or going up towards a corporate, then you have talent there that can actually be used and utilized in those core skills.
Well, that's exactly it, Jason. And to give you an example of just what you talked about, my first business, when I started doing the sales activity myself, and then when I got too busy, I had to hire two people to do the sales for me, right? But what I discovered, Jason, was one of the guys was very good at getting meetings, but his close and conversion rate was quite low. The other
Mm-hmm.
guy was not good at getting meetings and he wasn't motivated for it, but he was really good at closing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I divided the activity. So the start of the funnel was the guy who was good at setting up meetings, and the end of the funnel was the guy who was good at closing, and
Mm-hmm.
figuring out what the customer wants and being able to develop something that suited them. So my conversions as a business as a team, went up drastically when we started doing that and getting the best out of the people. But for me, Jason, it really there's a few key elements that, and we've talked about this before. For me,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, we've got the people on the ground doing the sales activity, meeting prospects, the account management side. But then underneath that, as I said, you don't have to have one person doing every part of the sales funnel. You can divide it up. And again, that's something that you have to tailor to your business
Mm-hmm.
and your teams. But then that's the people on the ground. But then you have to collect this data to figure out. And I have a very specific mechanism to find and collect data in a certain way to ensure that we can analyze data effectively. And then when we can analyze data effectively, which is done by another part of the sales team, the head office element maybe, and then we start
Mm-hmm.
reiterating, well, what do we need to change next month to remove the buying, the resistant factors to make buying decisions so we can make it easier for our customers to buy, and also then keep embedding what's working well. So you have to keep iterating the model. So there's no such thing as any, for me, target operating model. That's a big term that
Mm-hmm.
people talk about. We need to get to a target operating model. I don't believe in such a thing. I believe you get to model number one, and then you iterate to model number two, model number three, model. You keep iterating the model so you
Mm-hmm.
get better and better by looking at all the different aspects so they align and complement each other so you get the right results.
Yeah, in the corporate sphere and my experience in there is you work in a team. You have your hunters. You have those people that go out and get the business, and then it's passed over to a collaborator or an account director, an account manager, or and they would utilize. They'll be handing that over. But the bigger the account is, there's lots of different touch points within the account depending on who you're speaking to. So if you're speaking to a large corporate and you're getting headway there, but there's different people along the trail that they need to speak to. So you could be speaking to a department that have the budget for there, and but the account manager will have to speak to the owner or the in charge of a certain area that makes all the bigger decisions with regards to the money, regards to the direction of the account, with regards to other different areas. So lots of different people will be working the account, but at different levels across that. And then you're going to get the account strategist or the person that will pull in all the data and all the resources that you actually need to actually better serve the client in the best way possible. So this is all done at a strategic level. So and all of the information, all of the decks and all of that stuff is done and put back into the CRM. So it's all shared a resource, so you know exactly where you're going. So that could be done at corporate level, but that if you go down to smaller levels, you can work a similar system depending on the right core skills of the people within the teams. And again, working with the customer success or the customer sales, the aftercare people as well, that gets involved within that, because after it, but when you're a person on your own, it's obviously a little bit more challenging. But once you have a few more people, you can actually work with the customer success or the customer care team, just so you can look after the people and after your clients after the sale, because that's equally, if as much as important in the whole relationship building with
Yeah.
the core team, and everything's communicated.
Yeah, but even to that point, Jason, one of the big gaps I see or problems and gaps I see in sales teams is that transfer of knowledge. So when you have the sales rep getting the sale, then passing that to an account manager, that gap, I always see problems there in like
Mm,
what you sold to what the customer thinks they're getting, then what the service delivery team have to do. There's huge gaps in that piece of knowledge, and I always see big gaps in that. Um, Jason, and it's a big part of where I start helping them to make sure we have that
yeah.
seamless process where everything happens like, and it's completely invisible to the customer, that everything has just happened the way it's supposed to be. So it's seamless in their eyes. And then to your point, then is that after sale, that customer experience
Mhm.
element, which should fall hand in hand with the account manager to ensure, again, it's working. So you can get that repeat sale from that customer over time. But like a
Mm,
big part, like, so if I was then to talk, just to take that one step further, like, again, we talked about at a macro level, the different elements of the sales funnel and best fitting your teams. Then you talk about the management suite, right? That can
mm.
help analyze the data to ensure you can continually iterate the model. But for me, then you've got this problem solving activity to ensure you keep
I must apologize. I've lost my sound completely. So I'm going to have to go a little bit freestyle here, which is a bit of a shame, really. So, but it's just one of those things of using and utilizing technology. And I think that's probably what we're speaking about here. So I'm going to have to pass it over to yourself, Shay, if you can actually hear me. And hopefully, and there's, I think from my experience of going into organizations, it is really mapping things out and working with the key stakeholders within the organization to find out who has the right skills, because they should know who has the right core skills and the right elements. So you can pick and choose the right people, maybe to shift the people around a little bit that from their experience, and just map this out, get a whiteboard, get something else, just to go, well, they might fit there, they might fit in that part of the organization better just based on their skills. So let's just start to move people around a little bit, and then you start to speak to your core team and just say, look, we know that you haven't achieved your revenue goals here, but I think you're going to be better suited as a hunter. And I think you're going to be better suited as in a different part of the business. So we can utilize the core skills there. So they best suited for their roles. So they get the most out of what they do and love what they do, rather than just being jack of all everything. Just have people in the place that are actually more suited to that. So what do you actually think about that, Shay? Okay, look, technology is coming the better of us today. So look, we've reached pretty much our peak today, and I promise next time we're going to be a little bit more capable on our technology, and I'll probably let Shay run the technology for the next time. So look, we really appreciate that, and we look forward to speaking to you on the next time. And we're going to have a look at this in a little bit more detail of how we can use and utilize our sales team and the different roles within the sales team. And this is going to be part 2 of a larger conversation that we're going to have. So again, Shay, thank you so much for filling in while my use and utilization of technology hasn't been the best today, but we shall speak next Thursday. So thank you so much.